in the world of hip-hop, celebrity and success can function in either a positive or negative way, depending on who you ask. This was the situation with ackquille Pollard, who performs under the moniker Bobby Shmurda professionally. The success that Bobby Shmurda achieved with his single in 2014 gave the impression that he was headed for big things in his professional life. However, his meteoric rise to fame was cut short when he became involved in a complex network of illegal operations and was forced to abort the project. This video dives into the difficult years that Bobby Shmurda went through, concentrating on the 7 years he spent in jail and the effect that it had on his life and profession after his release. Number 1. The rise of Bobby Shmurda. Before digging into the gloomy years, it is vital to acknowledge the spectacular rise of Bobby Shmurda. This will set the stage for the subsequent discussion. Shmurda is a rapper who was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He is known for his distinctive rapping style and his high-energy concerts, both of which helped him amass a considerable fan base. One of his songs became an instant internet sensation, catapulting Bobby Shmurda into the public eye. Only 20 years at the time, Shmurda found himself signed to a big record label and on the cusp of stardom in the music industry. His raw, gritty words struck a chord with audiences, and his intense dancing move, known as the Shmoney dance, became a global phenomenon. Shmurda's genuineness and street credibility contributed to his allure, helping to establish him as one of the most interesting new artists working in the hip-hop scene today. Number 2. The arrest and legal troubles. In December of 2014, Bobby Shmurda's life took a dramatic change when he was arrested on multiple accusations, one of which was conspiracy to commit murder. Other allegations against him included reckless endangerment and possession of firearms. The arrest was a sub-part of a bigger investigation into the street gang GS9, which Shmurda was a member of at the time of his capture. His legal woes swiftly snowballed, and he found himself staring down the possibility of doing a significant amount of time behind the bars. From the very beginning, the case that was brought against Bobby Shmurda was mired in controversy. The prosecution is accused of unfairly singling him out and using his musical career and public persona as evidence against him in the trial. The lyrics of his songs, which powerfully represented the experiences that he had and the realities of living on the street, were studied and utilized as evidence in the case. This sparked a wider discussion on whether or not hip-hop culture should be criminalized, as well as whether or not the barriers between art and reality should be blurred. In spite of the many questions that have been raised about his case, Shmurda was able to strike a plea agreement in September of 2016. Number 3. The impact on Shmurda's career. Bobby Shmurda's musical career was put on hiatus once it became public that he had been arrested and was engaged in a court struggle. The bright young artist's upward trajectory came to a screeching halt, and his devoted followers eagerly anticipated his return. During the time that Shmurda was locked up, the lack of his presence was felt throughout the music business, as musicians and fans alike rallied for his release. The effects of Shmurda's incarceration were felt outside of the realm of the music scene. Many people considered his situation as illustrative of bigger problems within the criminal justice system, including as racial inequalities and the targeting of young black men. His self-narrative became a symbol of perseverance and hope for people who were going through circumstances that were similar to himself. Number 4. Life behind bars. In comparison to the flash and glamour of the music industry, Bobby Shmurda's existence behind bars was a dramatic downgrade in quality of life. As he joined the penal system, he was confronted with the harsh reality of detention, including the need to adjust to a disciplined routine and successfully navigate the difficult prison environment. The loss of Shmurda's freedom was among the most difficult obstacles he had to overcome during his ordeal, because he was confined within the prison walls. His capacity to make decisions and live his life according to his own terms was taken away from him. He was forced to conform to the regimented routine of prison life, which included adhering to severe timetables, following rules and regulations, and getting used to the institutional setting. The stark difference between his prior life as a rising celebrity and his current reality was unsettling to see. In addition to the limitations imposed on his physical movement, Shmurda had to contend with the mental anguish that came from being cut off from his family and friends. He pined for their company and encouragement, aching for the solace and companionship he'd experienced in the past. Despite this, he was able to draw strength from their unflinching support and utilize it as incentive to keep his attention fixed on his own personal development and eventual release. Being a high-profile convict presented Shmurda with a number of difficulties inside the correctional facility in which he was housed. He was forced to negotiate the intricate power structures that existed within the prison. which frequently demanded that he strike a fine balance between maintaining a low profile and making his presence known when it was absolutely necessary to do so. In already challenging circumstances was made much more so by the persistent observation and attention of fellow inmates, staff members of the correctional facility, and members of the media. During his time in prison, Shmurda displayed a remarkable amount of resiliency and determination, despite the difficulties he faced. There were rumors that he was using the time he was spending in jail to further his education and think about the decisions he had made. He immersed himself in books, which facilitated the expansion of both his knowledge and his worldview. He sat down and participated in some introspection, thinking about the choices that had led him down the path of engaging in illegal activities. During his stay behind bars, Shmurda was well aware of the importance of his own development and made a concerted effort to progress in this direction. Throughout his time behind bars, music continued to serve as an important creative outlet for Shmurda. In spite of the fact that he was deprived of the opportunity to make music in the same manner as in the past and did not have access to recording facilities, he devised resourceful strategies to continue to pursue his passion. He found that working with other creative people was essential to his own artistic development. He took part in the recording of verses over the phone, as well as remote participation in songs and projects. Because of his participation in these creative activities, he was able to continue his involvement in the music industry and keep his place in the thoughts of his followers and supporters. The time that Shmurda spent in jail served as a stern warning to him about the results that would come from the actions that he took. He experienced directly the consequences of the decisions he had taken, as well as the harm that resulted from his participation in illegal activity. These events strengthened his resolve to turn his life around and make a positive impact upon the world after he was freed from prison. After being released from prison, he devised plans to realize his personal and professional objectives, which he had previously established for himself. Number 5. Release and redemption. Bobby Shmurda was finally freed from prison in 2021 after having served the entirety of his term, much to the delight of those who supported him during his time behind bars. As he set out on a path toward repentance and renewal, his comeback to the music world was greeted with excitement by fans and musicians alike. Fans are excited to observe Shmurda's artistic development and the influence that his experiences have had on his music, and his release heralded a new chapter in both his life and his profession. Since his release, Shmurda has not squandered any time in re-establishing himself as a significant figure in the music industry. He issued brand new music, some of which featured collaborations with well-known musicians and made high-profile appearances across a variety of media channels. To sum up, Bobby Shmurda went through a difficult time during his dark years, which included his 7 years of incarceration. This phase of the young artist's life was marked by turbulence. Shmurda's journey serves as a cautionary tale about the repercussions of deviating from the appropriate course of action, beginning with his meteoric ascent to prominence and continuing with his later imprisonment and court fights. He plans to restart his work and have a constructive effect on the world. The life of Shmurda serves as a powerful illustration of the transformative power of perseverance and redemption, as well as the enduring significance of artistic expression. That's all for the day. We will be right back. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next one.